This is BNN, the most trusted name in nonsense. Coming up next on BNN, it's the Friday night lineup, beginning at 8 p.m. with everyone's favorite dermatologist, Dr. Cyst Drainer, and her new show, Pop Goes the Abscess. It used to be on at 7, but our focus group determined that it's just too close to dinner. At 9, follow the exploits of the Two-Ton Twins as they compete to be contestants on BNN's surreality show, My 600-Pound Goiter. Then, podiatrists and blacksmiths compete to try and figure out whether it's a foot or a hoof, then attempt to repair whatever that thing is hanging off some guy's leg. We wrap things up on Fridays with the 90 Day Fiancé Murder Mysteries, where we follow the exploits of couples for whom we clearly didn't do a proper job of screening. All that and dwarfs too, coming up Fridays on BNN. And if you don't catch them on Friday, we run the same episodes at random throughout the week. It's time for excitement. It's time for adventure. It's time for danger. It's time for those radio relics. And another episode of the Dullards Club for men and women too. And we're going to call this episode, or this meeting, to order. But here we are, the lonesome cat herder and the semi-retired dunk tank clown. Semi-retired.
Yeah. That's the operative part, I guess.
Now, if there was a tank, I guess a dunk tank wouldn't be the worst tank you could be in.
No, I suppose not.
Maybe septic drunk tank. Yeah, septic. That probably is the worst. Drunk tank is the one I'm more likely to wind up in. But if I had to pick my favorite tank, it'd be a think tank.
Well,
then
don't you have to have some qualifications for the think tank?
I'm dreaming. I'm wishing.
Okay.
So anyway, here we are. We're back doing our thing, and in fact, the show has started. Just for
yes,
those.
It has. Can't you tell by the peak?
And we're getting off to a rather a stumbling
start.
A stumbling start, yes, inauspicious to be sure.
Hey Pat, I in anticipation, I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm about to cut you off.
That was a good thing that you cut me off, because you really were starting to pick up on the fact that once again, the depth of content on this end was going to leave something to be desired.
Well, I realized that I should start the segment, the show, because they seem to do it all the time. We should just call it, "What Pisses Them Off This Time?" So you want to hear it?
Yes, of course I do.
Like why
do you think I tune in every week?
Well, I'm in the process of looking we need to get a new faucet for the kitchen. And I go to the websites of Lowe's, Home Depot, and the manufacturer's websites. But specifically, I was at a Lowe's website. And I narrow it down to 2 or 3 choices, and I read the reviews. They have reviews on their website, both Home Depot and Lowe's. And invariably I go, man, this is great, 3.5, 4, whatever. And they're this has been perfect for me. It's beautiful, doesn't leak, does this. In the beginning of the review, it says, and I only noticed it recently, this review was collected as part of a promotion. And then that's in brackets, and then it says, I received this faucet from Influencer right before I moved into my fixer-upper house. And I look on the right where you say, Joe Smo, whatever, wrote this review. Great. Sally X. The other ones now are Influencer.com. I'm saying, what the hell is this Influencer? I had never heard of it. Influencer is a real thing, and apparently they are a company that solicits and gives items to people who want to write reviews. I expect that from Amazon. I didn't expect it from Lowe's and Home Depot. And it really annoys me because it really becomes a waste of time. At least, thankfully, they put that disclaimer at the beginning of the review. But you go through and you say, why am I bothering to read these things? And frankly, now I'm not. Have you noticed that? Have you had occasion to look for things like that?
Well, I've always thought that the reviews, AI or otherwise, were mostly written off. Maybe they came from some troll farm somewhere, and they were, they're Chinese translated into English, and that's what you're reading rather than AI. But it could very well be AI.
This is not AI. This is like, I need to make some extra money. I'm going to sign up with Influencer or Vine or whatever. But part of it is you get onto their list. You have to write X number of reviews and they send you products. I have to believe that the ones that are positive reviews are the ones that get published or bought or compensated for versus the negative ones. But that's totally separate from the AI reviews that I see on YouTube, which are horrible. They are stilted English. I'll give you one example. I have an instruction for how to ripen bananas in the oven. I'm making some banana muffins. But it will the review will say, place unpeeled bananas on the baking sheet, leaving some space between them, and bake for about a half. An hour. Like every 15 minutes. So it's like you get in there and I take it personally, Pat. I am fascinated by the fact that people do this, and they do it a lot. And very often they are just Amazon reviews that they hire or look up online, get some AI text to speech, and they do it, and they must be making some money, or just it's the proliferation of them that really annoys me. I'm digging myself into a deep hole. Get me out of it, buddy.
Well, all I can say is that I think you are representative of our target market, that being a Dullards Club member. Hey, did you hear about this? The Panamanian Air Force, for the first time, they have gone out and purchased, or at least ordered, 5 fighter jets for their Air Force. Now, that brings up a whole myriad of questions. Number one, who are they thinking about fighting or defending themselves against? And who's paying for these things? I mean, we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars for these kinds of purchases. Yeah. Here's the rationale they used. They said they want to combat drug smuggling, which could be a bit of overkill, you think? It's like, trying to open a nut with a sledgehammer or, shooting a fly with a cannon or something like that. The other rationale, there were 2 reasons why they bought these jets. The second one was illegal fishing. So I would warn anyone that if you're out on Lake Gatun, if you go out there in a little boat and you drop a line in the water and you don't have a license,
a strafing run.
There'll be a Tomahawk missile off the wing of a plane. It's going to come and you will be obliterated. What else is going on?
I realized within the last couple of years, let's say, that I have reached a turning point in my life where that little project, something I might have attempted on my own, I now just leave to the professionals, because invariably, if I screw it up, it's going to cost me more to have the professional come in and fix my screw up. So I used to enjoy doing those little projects. I still do, but I've realized my limits and where I want to even attempt it. Now, when you start spending a couple of hours on things that should take you 5 minutes because you've neglected them for 20 years, that becomes an easy decision to make.
Yeah, well, my accomplishments and my source of pride is much more pedestrian than that. I don't have a lot of skills in the home fix-it area, but my big source of pride used to be when I would mow the lawn. and I would look at it afterwards and I'd say, you know what? I did that. Because it looked so good. It was smooth and it was, even, and it was green for a little while. And I took credit for that.
I usually look at it after I mow the lawn and say, how did I miss that part?
Well, I'm sure this is going to disappoint a lot of people and please many more. But we are about to take a break. And When we come back, we'll discuss some other little tidbits
When we come back, we'll start over.
We'll start from a different point.
And we'll call it Circling the Drain.
As we do every week. So we'll be right back. Stick around, and we'll see you soon.
Please stick around. I didn't used to be an idiot. I was a college professor, but then I retired, and now I can't even figure out how a cell phone works. And another weird thing has happened. It turns out that for no logical reason, I'm always making this irrational claim to be Confuser Cellular's biggest fan. No one loves Confuser Cellular more than I do, and if they say they do, I'll fight them. Yep, Confuser Cellular. They make cell phones easy. Now, what I most like to do is take pictures of my grandchildren and send them to my grandchildren. With Confuser Cellular, they pretty much require you to have grandchildren. It's assumed. When my friends and I get together down at the historically recreated coffee shop that doesn't really exist anymore, all we talk about is how nice it is to have big numbers on our phones, and no confusing mumbo-jumbo like chatting and such. Did I mention I'm their biggest fan? I heard some of my friends say that they love Confuser Cellular, but no one loves it the way I do. If they try to love Confuser Cellular the way I do, I'll kick their ass.
Confuser Cellular. The phone is for talking, damn it. And it's Circle the Drain time. We're going to throw some stuff out there. Hopefully you catch some of it. Hopefully some of it goes right by, because that's what the value is. However, I just want to mention this, that in our last episode, there was an error, a comma.
Only one?
Well, there was one that we're going to refer to. And if you find it, it's early in the episode. Just leave a comment. Let us know what it was. And you stand to win a this prize here that we're flashing up on the screen. And it's a commemorative. What the hell is this thing anyway? It's a keychain. Yes, that's what it is. Anyway, that could be yours if you find the error.
But it has to be. You can't say the whole show. It has to be a specific error.
Right. You may be right about the whole show, but you have to find the specific error. Okay, here we go. We're circling the drain here. At what point did this thing called food plating become a thing?
Food plating?
Yes.
I'm not sure if I'm familiar with it.
You find it in restaurants, some very, very fancy high-end restaurants, and some that aspire to that.
Well, that's why I don't know.
It's all about how the food is presented on the plate with a little squiggle of hot sauce on it.
Sprig of rosemary on top of a pyramid of food.
There's always got to be a sprig of something. But anyway, plating used to be a term referring to, gold or metal plating, covering something. Exactly, electroplating. But now plating adds, dollars to the price of the meal, just based on the aesthetic.
And coincidentally, less food, more often than not.
Which is probably a good thing.
My eyes sometimes see typos that, admittedly, I've seen them in my own things I go by. Usually I catch them before I publish something. But I saw on, I think it was Craigslist, and I don't know what I was even looking for to find this, but it was an ad, house for sale, completely remolded. New bedroom, one bath, kitchen, living room. I'm having to assume that they meant completely remodeled. Boy, talk about a transposition of a letter causing all sorts of issues. Maybe it was remolded. I don't know. But I thought that was quite funny.
There are times when the mold is remediated, and it takes a while for the new mold to come into play.
That's true. Okay.
When I buy a house, I want the original mold.
I stand corrected. Okay. It maybe have been intentional.
Sometimes I'm on Facebook and I'm just toggling around, wasting time, basically. Have you ever seen a melon cut perfectly? I was mesmerized by somebody taking a picture of how to cut a melon or how to peel a lemon. And I thought,
wait, you
not
said
a lemon.
melon first. Is it a melon
That's
or a lemon?
Well, it depends on where you put
This
the.
gets back to our typo.
Okay, well, I think it was a melon. It could have been.
It's a big difference.
Sometimes it's hard to judge the scale when you're looking at something like this.
Well,
But,
what color was it?
right. I don't know. It was.
If it were yellow, it's kind of a dead giveaway.
All right. Okay. Can do something. Do something
No,
with
I
that in
love
editing.
This is great. Well, was it a lemon or a melon?
It was a melon.
Okay,
It was a
all right.
melon. And I was thinking of the number of times I walked through a field with a machete in my hand, needing to know exactly how to slice that
See, now
lemon.
this is the
Another
difference.
melon.
This is the difference. I was envisioning this past summer, we decided to try doing a fancy cutting a watermelon and filling it with pieces of fruit salad. I actually found it online, how to carve it and make a little handle for it. And it really came out very nicely. So that's where I thought you were going. I don't think it would work as well with a lemon.
Well, it would be a much smaller meal, I think.
You fit a grape inside the little bowl, maybe.
Okay, all right. I don't know if I can take so much abuse here, but I have one more thing. I just want to bring it up.
Please go for it.
And that is that there's one kind of insurance that you really don't want to collect on. It isn't just, life insurance. It's the death and dismemberment insurance. Because you just can't win that way. I mean, as I think I mentioned early in this episode, I didn't have much. And
I'm going to leave you with two things very quickly. Dennis the Menace, Jay North, passed away in the last day or so. Did you
glad
see
you
that?
mentioned that. Yes, I did. I just saw that this morning.
The other thing I was in the news, Hooters apparently has filed for bankruptcy. And I'm serving you up that on a special little platter. Speaking of plating it.
Wow. Now that's the one
There's
that I
a lot
wish
of
I
things
knew.
that come to mind, but
Yeah, it's
frankly, I'm surprised it was ever as popular. Well, if it were as popular as I thought it was, it wouldn't be filing for bankruptcy, I guess.
I was always surprised at how publicly popular it was.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, there were certainly there's an appeal.
Yep.
But I was just surprised that somebody would do that and be successful at it for as long as they were. But that is a conversation for another time, or maybe for never.
Yeah, that's true.
On that note, we are going to take our leave of this particular meeting of the Dullards Club for men and women too. And don't forget our content contest. If you see the error in last week's episode, I think that was episode 7, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, season 2, episode 7.
Find the error.
Early in the episode, very early in the episode, you will see it.
Let us know that you saw it, and you're going to get yourself a really nice prize. Or a little trinket or something.
Well, you'll get something.
I don't want to go overboard here.
You'll
Anyway.
get a keychain.
Anyway, we're out of here. Thanks a lot for sticking around. We'll see you next week. I'm Pat, and he is Don.
Not, yeah.
He is. You are not. That's correct. And we'll see you later. Have a great week, and sayonara.
Sayonara.